everybody, Jane from Morning Dew Creations. I have this mirror that somebody gave me, and this is gonna freak me out. I have never recorded myself painting a mirror before. It's like an illusion. This was a mirror that she decided she didn't want anymore. She moved into a new condo. She bought a bunch of furniture from me, which was so awesome, and she didn't want this anymore. And it is really, really heavy, but a couple of DIY products, and this will be lightened up and gorgeous. You tried the pennies from heaven yet? It is really heavenly, and I am going to use this as the first coat on my mirror. So my intention is to let this pennies from heaven dry, and then I'm going to paint over it with vintage linen. So it's going to be okay if I don't cover every single bit with the pennies from heaven, because I do want some of this gray popping through too. It's already a beautiful combination. This is so weird, you guys. You get like a behind the scenes. Like there's part of my ring light. There is my huge stand. You can see my tripod. My phone, there's my phone. That's pretty cool. I am guilty of not taping. I am a scraper, not a taper. And I'm glad you can see me in the mirror because you can't really see my face. Hi. So I just go carefully. This is gonna wet distress right off of this glass, so not a big deal. Right off of the mirror part. And I was kind of, smashing it on here, but most of it's gonna be underneath anyway, so I'm just trying to get into the grooves quickly. It really is amazing how cool these turn out when this, truth be told, this is kind of an ugly mirror. It's probably old. Maybe it went over like a dining room table or a buffet or, fireplace. It probably looked amazing right when they got it, but it looks old. It looks, looks dated. That's what I want to say. It looks dated. So we're gonna freshen it up here. Since I'll have absolutely no way to tell how much copper is underneath the vintage linen, I'm just filling in a couple of the areas where I think I might really want that copper to pop out. But again, you can't control that. That's a tough thing to control. You could make like a detailed plot map if you really wanted to. Okay, I'm gonna distress right here, and underneath letter A is, I would never do that, but I really would admire you if you did. Plus you get a bird's eye view into my super messy studio. Isn't that beautiful? I'm gonna let this dry. I have a decision to make. I don't know if I want it to be that bright, so I'm thinking about putting dark and decrepit over this in some spots to tone down that shine a little bit. I still am gonna want some to pop through. So I'm thinking about that. Otherwise, I'm gonna paint it with vintage linen. So I will be back when this is dry. Vintage linen now. I use this color all the time. It's so pretty. What's really fun about this is now I can just run my brush really light over the edges, and then that pennies from heaven is gonna pop out. I'm gonna tone a little bit down, but this is completely up to you, whatever you think looks cool. I'm definitely gonna distress some of this vintage linen back too, so I'm not concerned about leaving too much on because I can always pull it off. I love using these little chip brushes because they make really cool texture. And you can kind of smash them around and not worry about wrecking your brush. I really love the high contrast of the vintage linen and the pennies from heaven. And ultimately, I decided it was going to be a better idea to come back in at the end and, because I'm going to wax this, so if the copper is too bright in some areas, I can just tone that down with a dark wax. I absolutely am loving how this looks. I'm just going back in with a little bit more vintage linen and adding to places that I think are a little too light. And then in turn, I will distress where I think it's too dark. All right, I'm gonna let this dry, and then I'm gonna come back and wet distress it. So I said I was gonna wet distress, but I changed my mind. I want a harder edge on some of these curves. And this will be a really quick, easy, just kind of back and forth here. Ooh, I'm loving that. I have my trusty wispy giant brush. I'm just gonna get all the dust off of here. And this really is quick and easy. I mean, look at how pretty it is and the details that were brought out just by a little bit of layering and a little bit of distressing. Pretty cool. Check out that layering, that texturing. I love the copper popping through. This needs to dry now though, so I'm gonna let it dry and then I'm gonna come back with my wax. Okay, I've got my clear wax and I've got my Paint Pixie Little C. I love this brush. Look at how cute it is. Fits right in your palm. It's so cute. I love when you put the top coat or wax on top of DIY paint because the color pops back into life. This is gorgeous. You can see the copper popping through. Some of those original darker tones that were on the mirror are popping through too. Really pretty. You are looking for a real quick project. Mirrors are very fast. You can do things like embellish them, so I could stencil onto this. I could put transfers onto this. You can do a really cool Mercury effect. Your choice. I'm gonna leave mine like this. Let me let this dry. I'm gonna stage it and I'll show you the final piece.